In this video, I'd like to talk about the math question of the day for Monday, June 5th, 2023. And with this problem, we need to write this fraction, 8/15ths, as a percent. And converting between fractions and percents and decimals is usually something that's taught in grade school, maybe in 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. So at this point, go ahead and pause the video, see if you can work through this on your own. And when you're ready, unpause the video and we can go through this together. Now, assuming that you have attempted the problem, let's start working through this. And the general strategy is that we can first convert this to a decimal. And then once we convert this to a decimal, we can just multiply that by 100% to convert it to a percent. Since, remember that with percents, let's say we have 100%, this symbol here, percent, just means divide by 100. Per is the word we use for division by. Think miles per hour. You divide miles by hours to get miles per hour. And cent is the word for 100. So when you see percent, you can think this literally means divide by 100. So when we have 100%, this is just 100 divided by 100, which of course we know is equal to 1. And we can multiply anything by 1 without changing the number. So once we have a decimal, we just multiply it by this 100%, or in essence, we're multiplying by 1, so we're not changing anything. But multiplying by 100% will allow us to put this percent symbol on it. So let's first work on converting this to a decimal. And the simplest way to convert this to a decimal, if it's not an easy fraction, is to use long division. So we are dividing 8 by 15, so we put 15 on the outside, and 8 goes inside the long division box. And since we know this will be a decimal, we will add some zeros after the decimal, and we can add more if we need to. So we start by asking how many times does 15 go into 8, and it doesn't, so we move to the next digit. How many times does 15 go into 80? And since we moved over, we do need to bring up that decimal. We know 15 doesn't go into 8, so we can put a 0 there. And 15 goes into 80 5 times. And we can multiply to find that remainder. 5 times 15, that is 75. And we subtract to find the remainder. 80 minus 75 is just 5. And we bring down the next digit, which is a 0, and we repeat the process. We ask ourselves, how many times does 15 go into 50? And it goes in 3 whole times. We multiply to find that remainder. 3 times 15, that is 45. We subtract to find that remainder. We get 5. And we bring down the next digit. And notice we will end up with a repeating decimal. Since 15 goes into 50, we know 3 times. And if we go through the remainder process again, notice we just get 5 again. And we can keep bringing down zeros. So it looks like this decimal is 0.53 repeating. We can put our bar over both of these. And we can now rewrite 8/15ths as 0.53 with our repeating sign here. And I'll put a few more 3's here, since at this point we're going to multiply it by 100%. And really, I suppose we really only need one more of these, just like we have here. And now we want to change this to a percent. So let's multiply this number by 100%. And the percent sign we'll just put at the end. But multiplying by 100 will move the decimal 2 times over. We will make it a bigger number, so the decimal moves to the right. And since there are 2 zeros after the 1, we move it 2 times. So this would be 53.3 repeating. Let me rewrite that 3. So 53.3 repeating. We can write as many 3's as we want, or we can just put the bar above the 3. And like I mentioned, that percent sign will just carry along. So in conclusion, this 8/15ths, this fraction here, is equal to 53.3 repeating percent.